All right, I guess this thing is on. I make sure I got my settings properly here because you know those things are important to have. Um, so we're on YouTube and we're on Twitch. I got to make sure the I get the Twitch stream up here so that in case you guys have any questions or anything during the episode, you can feel free to ask them. I'll try to answer them as soon as I see them. All right, cool. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna record this episode of the Crew Chiefs Corner podcast as I've normally done it. So we're gonna have a couple people I think already on right now. So thank you guys for that. And we'll get on and we'll start the episode. Basically, the outline of this is going to be we're going to talk specifically about the Bristol Dirt Race. We'll talk about some of the news and the notes that have come out in the last week or so. We'll talk about some of that stuff and then we'll get you set up for Martinsville, and I'll give you my race picks, and we'll kind of take it from there. So I'm going to jump in here in a second, and we're just gonna start. I got everything set up, so I think I'm gonna get going now. I know it's like a minute or two earlier than I said I was gonna start, but it's fine. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bobby here from the Coochie's Corner podcast, bringing you another episode of the podcast. And man, what a week it was 2 weeks ago at Bristol. Sorry I didn't get the episode up last week, just with the way Easter fell this year. Obviously it always falls on a Sunday, but just the way it fell, with work and stuff, it was kind of a little bit crazier than anticipated. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get um, the episode done last week, but we'll talk about the Bristol Dirt Race, what my opinions of it was, kind of where we're going to go with it from here. It sounds like, we know for sure they're going to run the race next year. We just don't know if it's going to be with the new next gen car or is it going to be with the current car that we have today. And they just bring them back for a one off deal to run the Bristol Dirt Race. So we'll see how that all pans out, but we'll discuss that. We will also talk about Martinsville coming up, and we'll give you guys the latest news and notes. And I think another thing we're going to start doing every week is I'm going to talk about some cool things with diecast. I know we have our really good friends over at Circle B Diecast. So if you go on their website, anything that's on the website that you purchase, as long as it's within continental US, and it's a order that's over $20, you get free shipping. So it's a great deal. Just use the promo code Crew Chiefs Corner. There's no apostrophe in it. It's just Crew Chiefs Corner, and you get $20. You anything over $20, you get free shipping. So that usually saves you about $9-10, which I know is a big deal these days. So go on circlebdiecast.com. Anything that's on the website, whether it's a pre-order, whether it's apparel, hats, 164 scale diecast, as long as your order is over $20 and you're getting it shipped within the US, that's the important thing. No international shipping waived here on this thing. It is promo code Crew Cheese Corner. You get shipped to you free. And the best part is, let's say you're going to pre-order your Joey Logano Race to Win diecast. You're not charged until it ships. So in 6 months, when the diecast come in, that's when your credit card's going to get charged. That's when the money's taken out of your account. So they're not like other, diecast sites where, they'll charge you right away. I can think of a few off the top of my head that are like that. They will charge you when your item ships. And that even works on PayPal as well. They have a separate PayPal for pre-orders thing, which I think is really cool. So that way there you don't, get the money taken out of your account today out of your PayPal account. You can pay for it when it comes in. So really cool. Go check out my friends over at Circle B Diecast. And like I said, use promo code Crew Chiefs Corner, free shipping on all orders over $20 within the United States. It's a great deal. And we'll talk about some diecast later on as well. So we'll get you started on this action-packed episode of the Crew Chiefs Corner podcast. This is Bobby Bailey. And again, if you're new to the stream, what you can do is during these kind of breaks where I let the system upload what I just recorded, You can ask me questions, about maybe some news, NASCAR news, maybe a topic you want to discuss real quick. Maybe there's a diecast behind me you want to see if you're watching the stream right now. So it seems like it actually is doing a pretty good job here of uploading today. I'm impressed. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. That, and I'll add in my stuff afterwards. And once again, if you're just joining us, I know I said I was going to start at 1:30. We are now heading into our first segment, so we will talk about the Bristol Dirt Race. And we already did our show intro, so we'll get right into our Bristol Dirt Race review. All right, everybody, this is Bobby here on the Coochie's Corner podcast. And, like I said, 2 weeks ago, wow, what a race at Bristol. Hard to believe that the Bristol Dirt Race is come and gone. I'll say for starters perspective on this, it was an interesting weekend to say the least. We had the rain. Obviously, it rained us out on Saturday for the trucks, and it rained us out of the heat races. And then we got everything on Sunday. We got the truck race, and which I really didn't see the truck race because I was still at work on Sunday when they were running it. But then I got home in time to watch pretty much the entire Cup race. I didn't watch, every single lap flag to flag, but I watched the majority of it. And I know there's a lot of people that are kind of on the fence with this race. There's those of you that watch racing, dirt racing every week, and the product that was on the track is not what you're used to seeing. And I know the race was entertaining. There is some beating and banging going on between the different competitors. Truex dominated the truck race. Even though he started like 17th, he came up through the field and really had a good handle on it. I do think Martin's success in the truck race gave him a lot of confidence going into the Cup race. In that first stage, he won it. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh no, Martin Truex is just going to sweep these, both of these races." But I think what we quickly learned is that gave the guys like a Logano and some of these other guys who were in maybe the modified races the week before. It gave them a little chance to reacclimate themselves into the Cup cars and how these NASCARs were going to handle. I think Truex had a little bit of an advantage, like him and Harvick, and those guys would have had an advantage of being on the track and knowing what the track's going to do as it gets rubbered in and you start to lose that moisture in the track, what it's going to do to your car. Now, obviously, the trucks drive a little bit differently than the Cup cars do. On a normal weekend, you really can't take what you do on a truck and kind of throw that in a Cup car. So, in some regards, there wasn't really much translated, knowledge there. But I think being that this is a dirt race, being that you can learn where the groove is going to form, kind of maybe pick up where the bumps are going to be on the track and how your vehicle goes over those bumps and some of those things. That is translatable, I think. And I think also the other thing was getting used to the way that track was gonna progress. That in the beginning when there's a lot of moisture in the stages, the track drives one way, but as that moisture goes away, how you're gonna have to chase that moisture and try to find where it is and find where the grip is, which I think was the big thing. Now going back to before the weekend, going back to Friday, and we had the practice day for trucks and Cup. I think the one thing that surprised everybody, whether it was the regular NASCAR media, the average fan, the dirt aficionado, whomever, everybody was taken aback by the tire wear. And I think the tire wear was sort of the headline story coming out of Friday. I don't think it was maybe, Kyle Larson having to go to the rear because his motor blew up on Friday. I don't think it was some of the other storylines that were progressing in the weekend. I think it really did become the tire wear and the excessive amount of tire wear that we saw on Friday. And I applaud NASCAR for making a change and going with it in establishing essentially competition cautions at lap 50 and then at lap 150 of the race to try to break it up so that we didn't have a situation where, after 50, 60 laps, these guys needed to pit. And, you had guys that were trying to stay out for track position, this, that, and the other. By creating the competition cautions, you were able to then make it so that the teams were able to come down pit road, change the tires, do all their stuff, and then go back out there and kind of race. And it did give the track an opportunity to kind of water the track, condition it, and make it better for the next 50 laps. And I think that was kind of like a hand in hand kind of movement that NASCAR made with Goodyear, but also with the track as well. I think it kind of helped Bristol Motor Speedway out a lot as well to maintain the track and to try to get it so that it was a very competitive and a compelling race at that as well. So while it wasn't really a great start, you had tire issues and there was a lot of us that were wondering, are we seeing the Brickyard 400 from 2008 or 2009 all over again, where guys literally had to come down pit road every 25 laps to change tires because otherwise your car was going to blow a tire and hit the wall. So I think this is just one of those deals that, NASCAR was kind of put in a box. And I mean, I've said it and I'll say it again. I mean, I don't know if this was NASCAR's lack of wanting to go out and test it, Goodyear's lack of wanting to go out and test it, or what it was really. I understand that Bristol didn't put the dirt surface down, like in the off season, or anything like that. They didn't really have it down until I think February, uh, late January or early February when the teams are starting to get their seasons going, and it's a little bit harder maybe for Goodyear and them to get cars to the track and to do a proper tire test, but I mean, you can't just go off of Eldora and say, well, that's what we're going to run. We're going to just, use the tire from Eldora. That's, just kind of what makes sense to us. I think what they had to do was they had to, they had to do the tire test. They had to do something. So hopefully next year they've learned their lesson. They bring back a better tire. They bring back something that's going to be able to run longer than 50 laps, and figure it out. But, I think at the same time, the product at the end of the day was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was an amazing product, but I think it was something that if you are a true dirt fan, you enjoyed it, and say what you want about it. I think NASCAR overall did a good job. I think there were some things that they need to address. The amount of dirt, I think, that was flying, the rooster tails and stuff. I think they had to do something to cut that down a little bit, but I don't know really what else you do other than water the hell out of the place all the time. And I don't think that's going to create for good racing. So I think NASCAR, overall did a good job. I think it was something unique and different, and I give them kudos for that. As I did in that article I wrote, 2 weeks ago, I thought NASCAR did a really good job of getting outside of their comfort zone, doing a race, and really trying to, appease fans that have been upset for a lot of years about the product of the racing on the racetrack. And I think that this dirt race kind of showed those folks who, by and large, I don't think you can ever really satisfy everybody. But I think NASCAR took a step in the right direction. And I think that while, you might not like the guy that won the race, but I think the race overall was well received. And I think people, no matter their motorsport discipline or where they are with NASCAR, personally, I think we're taken away with a positive outlook on it. And I think that that's going to build excitement for next year. The race itself, I mean, Logano wins. I mean, how about Daniel Suarez? I mean, here's a guy that has zero dirt experience. He went out and ran a dirt late model for the first time, like the week before the race. And he goes out and he leads, I think, something like 40 or 50 laps of that race. And I remember driving home and I'm like, really, Daniel Suarez of all people, he's out here leading this race. I couldn't believe it. I was beside myself. I was like, Daniel Suarez, really? But good for him. They finished, I think, fourth or fifth on that Sunday 2 weeks ago. So a great run for everybody at Trackhouse. I know Justin Marks has some dirt experience with his time of of owning Kyle Larson, Mark's racing there in the Dirt Series in the World of Outlaws and things like that. So I know Justin has a little bit of dirt knowledge to his name, but I'm sure he also leaned on his teammates, his RCR, related teammates, I should say, in Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, and I'm sure even though Ty Gibbs is driving for Toyota, I'm sure Ty Gibbs still was sort of available to Daniel Suarez if he needed some kind of advice. So that was interesting as well. And there's some guys that I was really surprised at. I mean, like Austin Dillon really surprised me how poorly he was running, considering this is a guy that won Eldora, in 2013 in a truck, and just kind of an interesting race for him, his brother. I just thought that they both had kind of a tough race, and it was just very disappointing to see them run as bad as they did. Um, I think there were some really lofty expectations out of Stuart Friesen for the Cup race, being his Cup debut and being as successful as he is on the dirt track scene. I think there was a lot of pressure on him to run well. And you look at Stewart; he comes home in the down there in the bottom part of the order. And I think you just look at that and you say, well, I think a lot of it has to do with the car. I think Spire Motorsports is still a team that's building from the ground up in a lot of ways. They used to get stuff from Jay Robinson and Premium Motorsports, and this year they're getting stuff from Ganassi and Hendrick, and they're getting motors, I think, from Hendrick. But this is a team that's still trying to get their feet under them in a lot of ways, and it was a tough day for Stewart. I think he, was put in a good spot. I thought that Spire was going to bring a good piece for him, but he just wasn't able to capitalize on it, and those things do happen. But as far as the truck race goes, I was a little bit surprised that Stewart wasn't more of a factor in that truck race. I know the rain out kind of killed them in some regards because they couldn't get his wife Jessica into the race because of that. Because they never started a second truck before, so they had no owner points for that. So that was kind of a tough deal. But I know Stewart, wanted a really good run in the Cup car, and I think he ran the best he could considering all the variables that went into that race. But some guys that really struggled. I mean, Briscoe was, Chase Briscoe was somebody I thought was going to run really well. He had that incident with Kevin Harvick, his teammate, and Harvick had a tough race. And it was kind of funny because I remember a couple episodes ago we were talking about Kyle Busch, and there was people that called up to Sirius XM NASCAR radio, and they were complaining about. Well, I shouldn't say they were complaining. What they were saying was, maybe Kevin Harvick is kind of on the other side of his career, and I'm like, here we go again. Here we are. What now? 6, 7 races into the season. Now we're gonna start looking at Kevin Harvick's season and saying Kevin Harvick might be on a decline. It's the same group of people that were saying Kyle Busch was on a decline. I think newsflash to most people out there that were worried about Kevin Harvick's career coming out of the Bristol dirt race, Harvick would be the first person to tell you that he is not. He is not a dirt racer by any stretch of the imagination. He's never really done it, full time or successfully at all. And he was just trying to figure it out. I say the Stuart Haas struggles this year have been eye-opening, but I think, if you go back the last couple years, who has been their best driver? And it's been Harvick. And it's been Harvick by a long shot. Even when Boyer was still there and they had Suarez and all that, it was still Kevin Harvick. And I think, listen, this year it's been a kind of an odd year. We've seen a lot of first-time winners. We have seen, was it 8 different winners this year? We've not had a repeat winner yet this year. I do think we're going to start to see some of these, some of the big time teams, like, everybody thought Hendrick was back when we saw, William Byron win, we saw, Kyle Larson win. Logano now got a win on the dirt track there at Bristol. But, will we start to see the powerhouse teams come out? Will Kevin Harvick, will Denny Hamlin, will these guys that have been the dominant drivers the last year be dominant again this year? Or are we seeing a new crop of drivers come up? And again, you got to remember, this is the last year of this car. So there's not a ton of development going on right now behind the scenes on these cars. These cars kind of are what they are. There were some minor rule changes between last year and this year. And I think that is something that the folks at Stewart Haas admitted have caught them off guard because of how late it was, and that some of those things kind of are why maybe we've seen some of the first time winners, especially the Michael McDowells of the world, get a win. But I think you look at where we are now this year. We've seen Penske win now. We've seen, I do think that we're starting to see a little bit of a renaissance over at Roush Fenway. It looked like Busher had a pretty good start to the race. Ryan Newman was up there, contending late. So we saw some of the guys, some teams have come up this year that in the past haven't really been that great, but we're starting to see them make some noise. And then you see teams that used to be really good are struggling. And Harvick and Stewart Haas is one of those groups that you got to sit there and say they've taken a step back this year. And then you look at Gibbs, sure, Martin Truex Jr. won. Sure, Christopher Bell has won. But the guys that have won the most races over at Gibbs the last several years, and Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, they're both struggling right now. And I mean, I know Hamlin finished second to Joey, and probably should have booted him out of the way. He probably should have put temper to him. But I think you look at where they are this year compared to where they were last year. Hamlin hasn't won. Harvick struggled. So I think there is a cause for alarm, but I don't think this is the end of Harvick's career. And I don't think Hamlin and Kyle Busch are going to go winless the entire season either. I think you have to kind of have a little bit of perspective here. I think we're seeing a lot of different drivers win. Like I said, I think some of these rule changes caught some teams off guard, but I think that, by the time we get into later races during this season, by the time we get into, like, let's say Nashville Super Speedway, I think we're going to have a different perspective on the series by then than we will here today talking about this right after the Bristol Dirt Race. So, if I'm a Kevin Harvick fan, I'm not really worried as much as maybe some people are about Harvick's, future in the sport, and is he on a decline? I don't think so. I think he's just going through a rough patch, just like I think Kyle Busch is getting used to Ben Bayshore and in that group over there with the 18 team. I mean, that's essentially a brand new team that Kyle's working with. His team that he's had the last couple of years is with Christopher Bell in the 20 team. He's got a brand new group of guys that are working with him, and they have to figure each other out. This is not like, some of these teams where, they keep the 18 team together forever. No, it goes with the crew chief, and that's how some of the other teams are in different organizations. The crew chief takes the crew with him, and it's kind of how it is at Hendrick. When they changed the teams at Hendrick this offseason, Cliff Daniels and what was the 48 team became the 5 team. They just changed the wraps on the cars. That's all they did. They took Bowman kept all his cars. He kept his crew. He kept the guys that work on the cars at the shop. He kept the road crew. He kept the transporter. That all went with him to the 88. I mean, from the 88 to the 48. And then Cliff Daniels teams just had to change their wraps and change some stuff around to make it for Kyle Larson in the 5. That's all that changed. But some organizations, you changed crews. It's like sometimes you just take the crew chief from, this team and he goes with that team and everything else stays intact. But that's not how it works over at Gibbs either. It kind of is the same way it is at Hendrick. So just some interesting stuff to talk about there. But again, getting back to the topic at hand with Kevin Harvick, I don't think there's a major problem over there. But overall, like I said, it was a great race. For the cup cars, and like I said, the trucks, I didn't really watch all of it, but I know Truex dominated, and you kind of figured that, you put a cup guy in a Kyle Busch Motorsports truck, he's going to be the guy to beat. And, that's what happens. You put a cup guy in a KBM truck and they're expected to win. And that's part of the reason why Kyle Busch a couple years ago was so frustrated with those, when he had Harrison Burton and Christian Eckes in his trucks and they weren't winning. And that's why he was frustrated about it, because he knows how good his stuff is. And he pushes his drivers to be that good. So a good win for Truex. He becomes the 36th driver in the history of the sport to win in all 3 national touring series. So a big win there. And, like I said, I think overall big win for NASCAR. They got, a lot of mentions. They got spoken about in a lot of different venues in areas that they normally don't get spoken about. So I think they're stepping outside the realm of their normalcy that they've had for decades and decades, and I think they're stepping into a whole different platform. So kudos to them for that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here on the Coochie's Corner podcast. And then on the other side, I'm going to break down some news that we have coming into Martinsville this weekend. And we'll also preview the Martinsville race. And then we'll take another break after that. And then we will talk about diecast as our final segment here on the Crew Chiefs Corner podcast. This is Bobby Bailey. So if you guys have any, like I said, questions or anything, let me know in the comments on Twitch. So while we're doing that, we are going to discuss diecast actually right now. It's kind of ironic because we're going to talk about it during the show, but I wanted to show a couple things. So this first one I'm going to show you guys is the Austin Dillon. This is the Austin Dillon Texas win. I got this in last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. So Austin won his third career NASCAR Cup Series race. He's won the Coca-Cola 600, the Daytona 500, and now a Cup race at Texas. It's pretty cool. This came autographed from RCR. So not a Plan B edition or Circle B diecast edition, but something I got from there. Something that I did get in recently from the good folks over at Circle B Diecast is this Ross Chastain Dale Jr. dual autograph Darlington throwback. This is the ARC model. I have the Elite as well, but the Elite is stored away. So pretty cool. This is a throwback to Dale Sr. when he drove the 77 back, I want to say 1976 or 1975, somewhere in there. But a pretty cool paint scheme. Dirty Mo Media was the sponsor on the car, which is Dale Jr.'s production company. That's what they use to put out the Dale Jr. download and some of the other things like Door Bumper Clear. And they also make Lost Speedways as well. So pretty cool. And then our friends over at Plan B and Circle B Diecast had their sponsorship on the rear of the car. So pretty neat tie in there as well. Then another diecast I got in. This is, again, not a Plan B edition, but this is something I got from Lionel. So this is the RCCA Elite Joey Logano Bobby Allison throwback. This came in about a week ago as well. Dual autographed by Joey and then Bobby Allison, the legend, on the rear window. So kind of a neat little diecast I got here. And a welcome addition as well. Another Darlington throwback car that came in recently is this Dale Jr. Justin Allgaier dual autograph Brant Dirty Mo Posse Chevy. This came in around the same time as the others that I've shown you. So another cool car, another one from the fine folks over at Circle B Diecast. And remember, if you use my promo code Crew Chiefs Corner, you will get free shipping on all U.S. orders over $20. That's promo code Crew Chiefs Corner for free shipping at circlebdiecast.com. All right, we are loading at record speed here today, so that is good news. All right, so we have nothing as far as comments, so we are going to go right into our next segment. All right, guys, welcome back to the Crew Chiefs Corner podcast. I am Bobby Bailey. So we're going to go over some news that we've had in the last few days. So we found out some news this morning that Taylor Gray, who is Tanner Gray's younger brother, was involved in a car crash and is in stable condition. He was taken to the hospital for observation, but Taylor Gray is going to be fine. Like I said, he was involved in a single car accident yesterday and was taken to the hospital and is reportedly in stable condition. So our thoughts and prayers are with him as he recovers, and hopefully, obviously no life threatening injuries or anything like that. Just hopefully some minor stuff that he'll be able to bounce back from pretty quickly and be able to be back in the truck for David Gilliland Racing pretty soon, because he's supposed to be making his truck debut at Richmond. So hopefully that doesn't impact his ability to make that debut in a few weeks. Actually, next week. I'm sorry, at Richmond. So hopefully we'll see Tanner in the 17 truck at Richmond. Some other news. Obviously, we've seen some paint scheme reveals. So we've had Freightliner on the two car for Brad Keselowski. That was announced yesterday, so we'll see that at a race. It didn't say which one, but I'm sure we'll see it at one point during the course of the season. Then we also saw the new Snickers peanut butter brownie squares Toyota Camry that he's going to compete with this weekend at Martinsville. So that is out, and that is up on the Facebook page as well. We'll get that up on Twitter and our website later on as well. And then we also saw some news about Rick Ware Racing. So Rick Ware Racing is going to have 4 branches of the military: the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, and the Marines on their 4 entries for the Coca-Cola 600. Nurtec ODT is going to be the primary sponsor for all 4 cars. We're going to see James Davison with the Navy on his number 15. The 51 will have the Air Force and Garrett Smithley. I believe the 52 is going to have Josh Bilicki with the Army on his, and then the 53 is going to be JJ Yaley with the Marines on his car. So pretty neat deal. Nurtec ODT has been taking their show cars to different military bases to kind of show their appreciation for our armed forces, and I think it's a pretty cool program they've put together, and neat to see them out and about at the military bases. And I believe they've done 10 already this year, and they plan on doing another 40 plus. So kudos to the guys over at Rick Ware Racing. I know they take a lot of crap for how bad their cars are, but at least they appreciate our military and our armed forces and everything that they do protecting us. So kudos to them for that. And then also we found out today that our friends over at Richmar Florist are going to continue their sponsorship of Spencer Boyd this year. They're going to be a primary sponsor for the truck at one race. Didn't specify which race. I know Dover's no longer on the schedule for the trucks, so I don't know if I don't want to put words in Jonathan's mouth, but I think the guys over there at Richmar are probably looking at Pocono, I would say then, because that's definitely a hometown race for those guys. I know they're based out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, so I know Richmar Forest will be a big sponsor for one race, and then they're going to be an associate sponsor on Spencer's trucks for the remainder of the season over there at Young's Motorsports. So kudos to them. I know they're very actively involved in the series, in all 3 series really, as a sponsor, associate sponsor, and it's been really cool to get to know a little bit more about Jonathan and his business and kind of all the different things they do over there with Richmar Forest, and kind of neat to see a little bit of some rivalry between sponsors. They had a little deal there with Hunt Brothers Pizza. They made a bet which driver finished better in the race because they were sponsoring Kyle Larson. If you didn't see the wreck, Kyle kind of got caught up with a lap truck and was taken out kind of early in the race over there at Bristol. So that handed Hunt Brothers the victory over Richmar Forest, and they had to send him a bouquet of flowers, which they enjoyed with some Hunt Brothers pizza. So kind of a cool little deal they did there, but neat to see that as well. And obviously they were paired up with our friends over at Circle B Diecast and Plan B Sales as sponsors for Kyle Larson in the Dirt Bristol race for the trucks. So a neat deal all the way around. So those are kind of the major news points of the day, of the week. I know Eric Almirola is going to be running a Smithfield Anytime sponsored car this weekend at Martinsville. So that scheme looks a little bit different, but that's up on the page as well. You can check that out. And while we're speaking of pages, be sure to check out our website. Later today, I'm going to upload a lot more news And I hope to have my feature article up there at some point this afternoon as well. So check out thecrewchief.net for all your NASCAR news and notes. I'll also get the entry list up there, and I'll get the schedule for this weekend up as well for Martinsville, like I normally do for you guys. So hopefully, we'll get that all rolling for you later this afternoon here on the Crew Chiefs Corner pages. So thank you guys so much for that. And then what we're going to do is let's roll right into Martinsville. All right. So, another short track. I think NASCAR kind of did the right thing here and put, the Bristol dirt race. Then you had a week for Easter. And then now you're going to roll into the Martinsville race, which is going to be on Saturday night. So don't forget, it's a Saturday night race at Martinsville for the Cup guys. And then you have the Xfinity cars on Friday evening. So some really good races. I think both are going to be outstanding. And I think it's really going to set the stage for some pretty cool stuff. And I know the tempers will flare at Martinsville. So as far as a race pick goes, I mean, you can't pick against them. I think Denny Hamlin's gonna get it done on Saturday evening. I think this is where he breaks through and picks up his first win of the year. As far as Xfinity goes, I mean, it's anybody's guess. They don't have a ton of experience out there with these vehicles out there, but I really like Austin Cindric's chances. He's been pretty good over the years at short tracks recently. So, he won at Phoenix earlier this year, and he won at Phoenix last year. So I'm going to go with Austin Cindric there, and those are my race picks for this weekend. So, hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Be safe, be well. We are going to talk about diecast real quick. I know we've been talking a lot about diecast, but I was kind of talking about during one of the breaks about some of the things I got in recently. So what I got in recently was a Ross Chastain um, Darlington throwback. It's that number 77 car. It's really cool. It's if you were watching the streams, I kind of shared it on the stream. It looks really cool. You can check out Bobby's Diecast Pit Stop on Facebook. That's Bobby's Diecast Pit Stop, and you can check out. I have pictures of all my diecast on there that I've gotten in recently. But got a Ross Chastain dual autograph ARC model there. I got in a Justin Allgaier dual autograph with Dale Jr. Darlington throwback as well, and I got some other really neat pieces as well. But you can check out for my ads of the week. So we're going to do that every week. The only thing I'm going to say is, be sure that you can check out for all your latest diecast needs. You can go on circlebdiecast.com. You can use promo code Crew Cheese Corner, no apostrophe. That's promo code Crew Cheese Corner. All diecast, apparel, whatever they have on the website, as long as the order's over $20, and you use my promo code once again, Crew Cheese Corner, you get free shipping in the U.S. That's free shipping in the U.S. No international shipping. Sorry about that, but those are the rules. I don't make them up. That's what they tell me. So be sure to use that promo code. And like I said, you'll get free shipping, which is probably a $9-10 savings that you get right there. And then don't forget, if you pre-order something like maybe a Joey Logano dirt diecast race win that you want to get, they have them autographed, non-autographed, whatever you like. You like 164 scales, they're going to have those as well. So be sure to check those out. And like I said, on a pre-order, you don't get charged until it ships. So that's a great deal. And be sure to check out all of our social media that will roll here at the end. And thank you guys for all your support. We'll catch you on the next episode, and we'll break down Martinsville for you guys. So we'll catch you next week right here on the Crew Chiefs Corner podcast. I'm Bobby Bailey. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the live streams. We'll catch you guys next week as we break down Martinsville. Thanks for all the support. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and be sure to check us out on thecrewchief.net. And be sure to catch the Crew Chiefs Corner podcast, which will be uploaded later this afternoon on most podcasting platforms. That would be on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Brand new name, but radio.com is now Odyssey. So really cool. Check out Odyssey. They have a lot of really great podcasts on there, including Crew Chiefs Corner. So you have nothing to lose over there, but just a new name. It's Odyssey. You can also check us out on Stitcher, Anchor. I already mentioned Spotify, but you can check us out on iHeartRadio. I'm pretty sure I already mentioned that as well. And also TuneIn Radio as well. And we're also on Overcast. So be sure to check us out. all the different ways you can check us out on the Crew Cheese Corner pages, also on Twitch and YouTube as well. Until next time, I'm Bobby Bailey. Have a great week.